Welcome into a Thursday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, presented every single day by Go Chevrolet. Remember, Geaux. Chevrolet.com is where you can find Lee Carney, Nick Richard, and their entire crew online. If you want to shop them here in Baton Rouge, they've got a used car lot on the corner of Florida Boulevard and Sherwood Forest where they can get all the inventory that you may shop, whether it's Laplace or here in Baton Rouge. Over to Go Express Auto Sales, newest used car lot here in Baton Rouge. You can check them out on Florida Boulevard and Sherwood. We've got a ton to get to over the next 2 hours as Moon Ursin, who is the latest commitment to Kim Mulkey's LSU women's basketball program. She is the latest transfer from Baylor, another national champ coming over to LSU to play for Coach Mulkey. We'll talk to Moon, the Destrehan native, coming up here at 7:30 this morning about her decision to come home for one more season and play for Coach Mulkey. We'll ask her from her point of view, from a player's perspective, what makes Coach Mulkey a Hall of Famer and as good as we know that she is on the sidelines.
What a basketball name. Just hearing the PA announcer, Moon Ursin from 3. That'd be awesome.
From the moon.
Yeah.
So good, bro. Louisiana native, too. Good to have her back in the purple and gold.
Seems to be a theme there.
Where she should have been coming out of high school, but now transferring over from Baylor. It'll be interesting to catch up with Moon here at 7:30 this morning. Jimmy Burrow, one of our favorites, the coach, the man. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase working out with OTAs up in Cincinnati as the Bengals are on the field, and Jam and Joe look like they picking up right where they left off just a couple of seasons ago when LSU was on their way to a national championship, and Joe was collecting the Heisman Trophy and every award around college football while Jam was picking up Biletnikoff awards and setting SEC and wide receiver records at LSU. Both those guys now up in Cincinnati. In fact, Jamar Chase inked his contract yesterday, officially assigned with the Bengals. That was announced by the franchise on Wednesday afternoon. So we'll talk to Coach Burrow coming up here at 8 o'clock this morning about some of the buzz going on around Joe and having Jamar up there in Cincinnati. And then looking forward, as always, to catching up with one of our favorite guests, Dr. Reef, down in Miami, who is the personal trainer. He runs athletics, which is a rehab and recovery place down in South Florida, and has been working out Alvin Kamara since Kamara has been in the league. And if you follow Kamara on social media, or if you follow social media on Twitter, odds are you have seen some of the workouts that Dr. Reef has Kamara going through, like standing on the balance ball and catching the HELOC sticks, or Quan Alexander and getting him back from an Achilles injury that he suffered last season. Kamara was working on his stiff arm a couple of days ago as he was on a balance board. It is unbelievable. Just the athleticism, the balance,
core strength,
the ability, the strength that Kamara shows off in that video. We will talk to Dr. Reef about just some of these creative exercises and how strong you have to be to go through what some of Kamara is being put through this offseason. He's also working with Mark Ingram, the former New Orleans Saints running back. So lots to talk about with Dr. Reef coming up here. Hopefully we link up with Bo Bordelon. Bordelon is I've traded text messages with Bordelon this morning. He's over at Newman. He is the committed offensive lineman, one of the high ranked offensive linemen for the class of 22 for LSU's class. Unofficial visitors on campus. In fact, Big Willie Campbell is on his way down from Monroe to Baton Rouge as we speak today for an unofficial visit to LSU.
Who does he meet with?
He meets with Ed Orgeron.
We got the big dog coming in.
Yeah. He might meet with Scott Woodward. You know what I mean?
I'd like to look around campus, see a massive kid. Hey, you need anything, man? Powerade, looking good.
That's right. That's right. Because recruiting is front and center right now, and so is LSU. After the Tigers make a move on the coaching staff yesterday, and this came as a huge surprise, a very sudden announcement with LSU last night issuing a press release stating that their offensive line coach, James Cregg, is out We will get to that report coming up here in a couple of minutes. Daily, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet. All of our guests via the phone line are compliments of Metropolitan Health Group. Remember, real doctors, real solutions over there with Charles Harvey and Jason Ramazan. Speaking of Ramazan, Mr. Funds Travel has opportunities and seats available for the UCLA LSU trip September 4th as the Tigers will travel out to the West Coast to take on the Bruins in the Rose Bowl. Mr. Funds got you set up. Flights, tickets, hotels, all of it online at MrFundsTravel.com. We're also brought to you daily here by Majestic Coffee. Remember, daily our coffee is ground locally down in South Louisiana by Majestic Brews as they bring the coffee to the Jordy Culotta Show every day. Noah's here, Jack's here, Lloyd's here. Katie on her way back from the beach today, so we'll have a full house tomorrow.
No, I don't work Friday.
Oh, that's right, bro. That's
I'm in the graveyard.
Thursday
shift.
night's house. It's that dickhead at the door checking IDs
That's
at
right.
the house.
You better get your fakes in line, dude. Get your fakes in
Get your
order.
cookies in order, boys.
That's right.
Jack's back. Is there anything worse than the drive back from vacation as opposed to the drive there?
It's a bummer. It's a bummer. But there has been times when you get away where you can't wait to get home.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes you can really elevate that ride home as, maybe one of the high points of the trip.
I'm back. I guess that's probably like more of if you have kids and,
For sure.
you're like, get me the hell away from these gremlins.
Yeah.
I am a day of go home. I'm a let's get the hell out of here guy.
Oh, there's no way you're lingering
not,
around.
I am not a lingerer. I don't like to go to the beach on the pack the car, go to the beach, and then leave in the afternoon. I ain't that guy.
No, because if you get me out there, I'm staying.
Absolutely. And so when the final day of vacation comes, I'm usually packed up if we're leaving this morning, I'm packed up on a Wednesday night. Odds are we're probably on the road before sun comes up.
Let's get it and get
Absolutely.
moving.
Just
I
get
agree
me
with
moving.
that.
Just get me out of there.
Yeah, don't tease me with the last day, like, oh, we'll go to the beach until noon, and then you can leave. It's like, brother, if I'm going to the beach, I'm going to the beach. Like,
Everybody's
now I'm not going. Yeah.
Let's wake up, pack, take our time to get on the road.
Disaster, yeah.
No way, bro. Pack your shit before we go to bed tonight. I'll be up early. If anybody wants to sleep in the back, we can make pallets in the back, and everybody can sleep. I don't need any company as I get us home.
I hit
right?
the trail, dude.
I mean, I changed T-Bob Hebert and Matt Moscona's life at the SEC championship game this year from Atlanta because obviously you would think that T-Bob would be a lingerer, right?
Without a doubt.
Just
Kinda
lost.
No real plan.
Right, absolutely. Don't know where my bag is. Don't know where the car is. Don't know, you
We're
better
leaving now?
get that stuff in line, bro, because we're leaving in 30 minutes, and we left at like 2 o'clock in the morning from the SEC championship game because we had covered the game. The night, we were a little loose, and we slept off about 2 hours, and I said, fellas, if y'all want to do this, I will man the wheel, and we will be home by sunbreak. Yeah, no way, bro. No way. Both of them we hit the road there. Snoring all the way home. They wake up to sunshine in the Louisiana line.
Coming over the bridge.
Just never. Their life has never been the same.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And, but it's just, to me, that's the way you travel. I pack all the fun and excitement into the trip, bro. But come last day, it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
I
It's
agree.
time to get back.
Business trip.
Speaking of over, it is over for James Cregg, which is very surprising, I think, for many of LSU fans. If nothing else, the timing is very curious when you talk about making a move on the offensive line. Now, I have been very critical of that unit over the last couple of seasons as far as development goes and recruiting goes. There has been very many examples that have come through here, that have come through Baton Rouge and LSU, of missed opportunities for offensive line, offensive line recruits to get in the class. Most notably last year, guys like Tristan Lee, who ended up at Clemson. LSU was very much selling instant playing time and an opportunity to make an instant impact very early on here in what would have been his freshman season. Now, they do have some guys on the offensive line that were recruited at a high level. I think most notably would be Marcus Dumerville out of South Florida, who came in here as a left tackle and is still in the development stages of his game, has yet to really make an impact. Everybody has talked about the stories on Cardell Thomas. Where has he gone since some of the injuries and since his recruiting? And there has been criticism around Cregg's development, but more on his recruiting, on the ability to get guys onto campus. Now, I don't know what's going on off the field. We can speculate. I've heard things, but there is nothing official out there. Whether recruiting violations have happened, taken place, or something caused this sudden termination for Cregg to pop on a Wednesday afternoon in the beginning of June, where the dead period was just lifted in recruiting. And this weekend, you've got a pair of 5-stars coming in from Texas that Cregg has been really the point man on. I mean, when you talk about Kelvin Banks, who's a 5-star tackle out of Humble, Texas, Summer Creek High School over there, he'll be in town this weekend. Another Humble, Texas native, Cam Dewberry, who goes to another high school over there in Humble, is a 5-star guy who is going to be in town this weekend. St. Thomas Aquinas down in Florida, which is the same school that Doomerville came out of in Florida.
Out there.
Pump talent.
Holy smokes.
One of their guys, Julian Armella, is coming over here. But look, I believe that Orgeron was the lead recruiter on Armella, or at least he was the one leading the charge in talking to into Armella's dad and kind of leading the way there. Then you think about some of the local guys on the offensive line. We talked about Will Campbell. Campbell is maybe the face of this class. And you're talking about guys like Walker Howard, who's a 5-star quarterback. And Howard's probably the face of it, but he's right there with Will Campbell. You got guys like Jacoby Matthews. You got 5-stars all over this class. You've got name guys all over this class. I mean, there's some reports that Shaz Preston's about to pop. I mean, he's another name, big name. Aaron Anderson is a big-time prospect. But the offensive linemen in this class are as important as any group. Will Campbell being the headliner, Bo Bordelon being a guy from New Orleans and Newman who protects Arch Manning, but a very big-time recruit in his own right, is committed to this class. And then you think about somebody locally here in Baton Rouge of a guy like Emory Jones out of Catholic High, who's a must-get. I mean, he is a must-have for LSU with the offensive line, struggles that they've had. A guy like Emory Jones is a must-get for the stability of the future in that spot. So I'm not here to talk and speculate on why it went down. I think all that stuff will come out. And I really don't know. I don't have any information on this was the reason why Cregg was axed. I've heard some rumors and speculation on possible recruiting violations. Did Clemson turn him in on a recruiting vio? I've heard that, but nothing official. But one thing is official, is that Ed Orgeron is running out of equity on his hires because this was labeled an Orgeron guy, right? Worked with Cregg at the University of Tennessee when they coached together with Lane Kiffin, had kept up a relationship. He was at USC out there in California when they were together, and now he brought him in 2018 and has struggled on the offensive line. And I can tell you this, and I know this for certain, if Joe Bradie would have been retained, if he'd have kept his job and not taken the Carolina Panthers job as the offensive coordinator after his one season in 2019 at LSU, his first order of business as the LSU offensive coordinator was going to be to get rid of James Cregg. He told that to Ed Orgeron. He told that to Steve Ensminger. He told that to the LSU administration at the time when they were negotiating his contract to be the offensive coordinator in 2020. His first order of business and his first move that he was going to make was to get rid of Cregg. And I don't know any personal stuff on it, but I know the professional breakdown on it was that Bradie was very unimpressed with his development, his ability to develop offensive linemen. Bradie saw a strategy and a scheme that he wanted his offensive linemen blocking in. Cregg wouldn't comply. I don't know what that says about the relationship between new offensive coordinator Jake Peets and DJ Mangus. I have no idea on the stability or state of that relationship in the way that it works now, but it would make sense that those guys go through a spring together, they go through a small period of recruiting evaluation together, and maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe the offensive coordinator says, I want my guy.
I just heard about the possible violations. I thought at first it was they just didn't, the new scheme they're going with, they just didn't think it would fit with the way of the block, and it was like, oh, all right, that's why they canned them.
And this is purely speculation on my part also, but I just heard that for the first time about Joe Bradie, and Pete's and Mangus being Joe Bradie guys, maybe he kind of put a seed in their head too, like, look, bro, if you can find a way to get a new offensive line coach when you get down there, like, that would be my first order of business if I were you guys.
Possibly. I do know that for fact, though. And what it means to Cregg and the new offensive coordinator, I don't have the information on. The timing on this is very curious.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The timing on this is what makes it stink.
Wasted the whole spring.
You know, I mean, the stench of this will be tough to get past if you can't find a guy. Or, to me, when I first saw the news release come out last night, my first thought was, he's got his guy.
That's what you would hope, huh? Is that you don't really pull the trigger this quickly with no.
Yeah, you're no man's land.
There's no pressure on you to make this firing right now in terms of public. Like, nobody really knows anything. Everybody started digging after the firing was made, so there was no real actual pressure on Coach O to do this. So he could have taken his time and found somebody to replace him instead of just firing him like off the hip.
Mm-hmm.
It's curious on the timing. Now, where do you go from here, right? Because timing is not your friend. You've got guys coming in this weekend that are huge offensive line commitments. There's obviously going to be some restoration that needs to be done with the current commits. Will Campbell, as we said, from what I've been able to gather and trading a couple of text messages with Campbell this morning, he's on his way to Baton Rouge on an unofficial visit. And I'd imagine that LSU within the last 24 hours has been urging that to happen so they can get some face-to-face with what could be the face of the 22 recruiting class.
You were saying Saturday, there's 2 5-stars coming. How do you fix that? What do you say?
You put Coach O into overdrive.
We just fired your offensive line coach.
You have Thursday and Friday to make this happen. I'm telling you that they need to make it higher by 3 o'clock today.
What do you do on Saturday if there's no coach?
Well, then you then you let Jake Peets and you let DJ Mangus and you let Kevin Faulk and you let Ed Orgeron.
Yeah, you just star blind them. You just hit them with so many faces and coaches and everything. They're like, oh, it's a whirlwind of fun.
The
you don't even realize,
staff.
you don't realize you didn't realize that you didn't meet the offensive line.
I mean, I hope Peets has endless say in the offensive line. I want to be Peets' guy.
Same way we'd want it to be Brady's guy.
Yes.
We want it to fit the offense we want to run.
For sure. Well, I think that's and to me, this is something that you figure out in interviews. This is something that you discuss when you're talking about what the philosophy is going to be on offense and how the scheme lines up with a new plan. If you're bringing in a new designer in Jake Peets and DJ Mangus, well, then you got to let them know who some of the, what some of the advantages or what some of the schemes that the coaches on staff that they're going to be working alongside with are going to be. Now, whether that was, hey, look, you guys can go through spring and then give me your evaluation after that on where we stand. Yeah. Maybe that was a conversation that they had. But again, I would imagine that timing would be, talked about is as far as the calendar goes, you're going to really put yourself behind the 8 ball. Yeah. But you're still LSU. Like, at the end of the day, you've still got money in the bank that you can offer, and you still are a name-recognized school that brings a ton of cachet to a resume. So there's a lot of people out there that are picking up their phone and asking their representation to find out what the deal is. What's going on over there?
They may not even interview me. They might just hire me.
You know what I mean? Or maybe there is a list, and I've heard some names, and I'll give you a couple of guys that I've heard from everybody that I've talked to that is in and around this situation. That one common name that I've heard as far as a wish list, I don't know if this is on top of the list, but guys that are around that program that would want to work with continues to be Ben Wilkerson. Wilkerson was the center on the 2003 national championship team. He came in that recruiting class, Nick Saban's first headline recruiting class, with Michael Clayton, with Marcus Spears, with Marquise Hill, with all those guys that won the national championship. Laurent went in that class. He came in a later class. Yeah. But Spears, Clayton, and Corey Webster was in that class. No, Corey Webster was the year before. But Clayton, Spears were the headliners. Marquise Hill was another one. Ben Wilkerson was one of the stalwarts of that class. I mean, he was a 3-year starter that won the Remington Award his final season in Baton Rouge as the best center in the game. He's bounced around coaching stops. He's been back at LSU. In fact, he spent time on LSU staff when guys like T-Bob Hebert and Will Blackwell and that crew was coming through here. He was not the offensive line coach. He was an assistant and now serves as an assistant offensive line coach to the New York Giants, which, by the way, I had no idea. The Giants staff is just littered with Louisiana people. I mean, Tyke Tolbert is the wide receivers coach. He played at LSU. Russ Callaway is up there now, who was the offensive analyst here at LSU last season. Thomas McGahee is the special teams coordinator up there, and the offensive line coach for the New York Giants. Ben Wilkerson is the offensive line assistant with the Giants. The offensive line coach is Rob Sale, who played at LSU, and for the last 3 seasons has been on Billy Napier's staff over at Louisiana Lafayette, who really makes a ton of sense as far as familiarity, very good in recruiting, very good relationship builder, and a guy that I know was kind of asking around a couple of months ago when he was thinking about making a move of, is that offensive line job in Baton Rouge, is it secure?
They really like him.
Could it open up?
Give it a minute.
So those are 2 guys with LSU ties. And then the other names that are popping is Brad Davis from Arkansas continues to be discussed. Davis is obviously up there in Fayetteville. He was on the Florida staff in 2017. He spent the next 2 seasons at Missouri as their offensive line coach, and now he is in Arkansas as the Hogs coach. Another name that I continue to hear is Alex Atkins. If you follow Matt Moscona on social media, this is the name that Moscona feels like is the leader in the clubhouse right now. Atkins is the Florida State offensive line coach. He is a very good recruiter. He has got good relationships with guys like Emory Jones. He is a guy that surely is a name to pay attention to. Avery Atkins and Brad Davis are 2 guys that you should probably pay attention to that are on staffs right now. Kevin Mawai, who was with the Indianapolis Colts and has spent some time on college staffs over the past couple of seasons. He's been with Herm Edwards in Arizona State as an offensive analyst and just brought in to Indianapolis on Frank Reich's staff, is serving as an offensive line coach. He's an LSU guy, a Hall of Famer, and somebody at certain points during his post-playing career has been very much interested in joining LSU staff. Whether that line is still open, I'd imagine that the line is still open, whether the passion is still there to coach at the college level after getting the experience in the NFL is going to, I don't know. Do you have that conversation? You have that conversation with Mawai. You make him tell you no. Those are just some of the names that I continue to hear that could be replacements for the ousted Cregg in just the past 10 hours since the news has gone down.
So
did I say Avery Atkins on the Florida State guy? It's Alex Atkins. I'm sorry. Avery Atkins obviously is the place kicker for LSU. It's Alex Atkins.
That'd be an interesting hire.
Is the
local hire?
The Florida State coach.
Do you think that there's a world where this is an upgrade, right?
What's that?
There's a world where like this coaching change could be an upgrade.
Huge.
Yes.
Enormous.
Okay.
Cregg was
that's what I thought.
A bad recruiter. I mean, like that's being nice. I mean, he was. I mean, think about what you're selling on LSU's offensive line this year, and he only got 1 guy. You got Garrett Dellinger. They had to go out there and throw a lifeline, a Hail Mary to a JUCO guy and flip him late in the process in the Mateo or the big junior college Samoan who came in. So
even with this being so late in the process, it can still be spun to be a good thing. Like a
100%.
guy comes in and gets his system straight, and whips ass, and then
Can develop a little.
yeah, we forget that this even kind of happened. Like, thank God, almost.
100%. I think if there was anybody on this staff that was, after all the turnover that you experienced within the last 4 months, 5 months, that was looking around saying, damn, I made it.
Yeah, forgot about
was
me.
James Cregg.
Went to the bathroom at the right time.
Exactly. You know, I mean, I think that's the one that was really like, damn, they're going to keep me.
All right. Hell yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's see if we can get this thing going.
See if we can fuck this up.
Yeah, right. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. One thing is that people are starting to talk about it, and I think it's fair, is O's ability to keep coaches interested and keep his hires. I guess that's not the way to say it. In keeping coaches interested in his hires working out. You know, I think you look at last season with Pelini, Linehan. You look at Canada. You look at guys like James Cregg, that just are terminated in the middle of a recruiting session where, it's obvious to say, look, if there's no recruiting violations and you make the move now, you're admitting it's not working out. And by the way, if you terminate him without cause, and if anything comes out about recruiting violations, obviously that would be with cause. But if there is no cause here, you still owe him $700K. I mean, how much money do we have to dish out for bad hires? I mean, it's one thing to compare a staff and a head coach to a program that's turning over their staff every single year, but that staff is going to get jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They're promoting their career. They're going on to better places.
Look at the Alabama coaching tree.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying without saying it, because everybody wants to compare there. But, I mean, those guys are turning over for bigger and better jobs every year. LSU staff is, being terminated and, just being fired without cause. Just asked not to come back. And I know Scott Linehan's working over in Jacksonville, but I mean,
he got a job again?
That's how the
Unreal.
NFL. Yeah,
Only in
that's how the
America,
NFL
man.
coaching world works. Like
the NFL's a big
successful,
frat.
yeah.
I mean, even Jerry Sullivan, that you bring in for a year and you sell to the public of he's the savior of the offense, almost. After one season, he's out.
A 90-year-old man coaching wide receivers.
I don't know. I expect something to come out on it, because it's just the timing just doesn't make a lot of sense. I'd imagine that Orgeron will be asked about it. Let's get back to it. I need to get in touch with, we're going to get in touch with Moon Ursin here and talk to her about her decision to transfer in, and then we will get back to some of the storylines here on the Jordy Culotta show around this LSU offensive line movement. But James Cregg out, and we will wait to see what happens with a huge recruiting weekend on the horizon for LSU. Remember, daily, we are brought to you here by Edward Jones. Edward Jones is located out in central Louisiana. Stop in and see my good friend Daniel Newman. He's online, or he's conveniently reached through email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Let him help you with your 401k. Any questions you have about your finances. Remember, if you work within the plants over here in Louisiana, let him help you out with the finances there. Investing, 401k, Social Security. Any questions you have about your finances and what's happening there around the plants, let Daniel Newman help you out. Daniel.Newman@edwardjones.com. Kim Mulkey continues to bulk up her roster and turn this thing into a contender. She gets one from Baylor again. Moon Ursin is the latest to commit to LSU. We'll ask her why she's coming home right here next on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering. which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Bear over at Bear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says you grew up 225-8022, 225-485-8022 is where you can find Bear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in now welcoming the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Stick around. Dr. Sharif Taba will be here at 8:15 this morning. Dr. Reef is over there at Athletics, Rehab, and Recovery. He's Alvin Kamara's personal trainer, Quan Alexander's personal trainer. We'll talk to him about some of the creative off-season training methods that they've got for those couple of pros, and how just gifted of an athlete Kamara is. If you see some of these workouts on social media, man, I mean, forget about being a great football player. I mean, just the athleticism that he shows off by being able to stand on a stability ball and to work on his stiff arms and catching HELOC sticks. It's
moving cars sometimes.
Unreal, man. Speaking of unreal, our favorite Kim Mulkey is putting together a squad here overnight for the LSU women's basketball program, as another transfer made the news yesterday and another national champ coming over. This one a little different in the sense of she's coming home. Destrehan native, a two-time Gatorade Player of the Year in Louisiana. She was a two-time Miss Basketball in the state as well, being named first-team All-State 3 times during her high school career. She went on to play for Baylor, where she was a all Big 12 selection for the conference champ Bears last season in 2021. She was a national champ as a sophomore. As a senior, she started all 31 games, and now she is coming home as Moon Ursin, and not to mention one of the great names.
All-timer.
Just her name is Kara Ursin, but she goes by Moon Ursin, which is just a first ballot Hall of Fame name in basketball, and now she joins us here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Congratulations, Moon. Welcome home.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Yes. What went into this decision? How? Take me through the last month of a student athlete's life that is affected by a coaching change. We usually just hear about the coaches moving on. What has it been like for you going through this process?
Well, you got that student part right for sure. For me, academics was a huge part in this decision. I want to go into nursing, and for a long time, or still, I wanted to be a pediatrician, but now I moved to nurse practitioner. But I mean, that was a huge deciding factor in my decision, and talk to LSU and the way they can get it done, how they're going to get it done for me. Fantastic. And then, you just add in the aspects of the Coach Mulkey and crew and being home. And I mean, it just worked out perfectly for me. So here I am.
What was it like, your experience? What has your experience of college basketball been like? You experienced so much success playing for Baylor. What has it been like up to this point?
It's been a challenge, but it's been a fun challenge. And it's been had its ups and downs, but I've learned so much and I've endured so much, and I faced adversity truly. I honestly feel like I can say that from freshman year to senior year, and it's almost how the story was supposed to be written. You know, you go into college, you know, you're a freshman, you got to put your feet in the water and figure it out. And then sophomore year, it gets a little better, junior year. And then senior year, starting every single game. And that was just a dream of mine, to be on the biggest platform I could possibly be on and actually just be playing and giving my team help. So for me, that when I reached my senior year and things started happening for me and just falling in place, I was just patient. And so the experience for me has definitely been a challenging one, but it's been one that I'm thankful for.
What is it like coming home?
Thrilling, exciting. I'm so excited. I love home. I'm a family person. That's my biggest thing in life is family. So to be here with my family, I don't know, it's crazy. And again, you know, back for junior year when the Final Four is supposed to be in New Orleans, I believe we were going to get there. But it's just how that was taken away. And then here we are, you know, given the extra year to play basketball and a chance for me to come home and do it. So, I mean, it's just all that, and just being home and excited, again, surrounded by family and the people I grew up with. And the atmosphere in high school was something I will never forget. So I'm just thinking the atmosphere here, you know, now that I'm back home, it's going to be crazy. And so I'm excited about it.
What was the first thing you ate when you got back home?
The first thing I ate?
Yep.
Crawfish.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Is that the drawback? Is that the cuisine? Is it the seafood that makes it stand out?
The seafood, the beignets. Let me tell you about these beignets.
Oh, doggy.
Kim Mulkey, she's obviously a Louisiana native. She was just inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. She was presented by Michael Jordan. You've played for her for 4 years. You were recruited by her. What makes her great? Why is she so good at what she does?
Just because she's so good at what she does. I think she builds players into the best that they can possibly be. And with her, you continue to get better. You don't get stagnant. You don't reach a point to where, okay, there's nothing else that I can do. She teaches you every single day. We can be up by 50, and she's still going to be coaching. You could have a perfect game, but there's something she's going to find, not to wrong you, to critique you, to make you better. And she'll tell you, she'll tell you what it is that she needs. She'll tell you what it is that she wants. Doesn't sugarcoat anything. And I think what makes her great is just her ability to get the best out of each and every one of her players. And everyone's different. And to be a coach that can reach every single person, that speaks volumes for her. And she has a great personality. She's fun outside of coaching. She's a good person. She's a good person to be around. And so Coach Mulkey she's just great at what she does, the way she coaches, how she coaches, and how she cares so much about her athletes.
Did she still give you any run on the court? Does Kim Mulkey ever lace up the Jays and get out there a little bit?
No, let me tell you about Coach Mulkey. See, I always get on her about lifting these little 2-pound weights that she be lifting at. She gonna get me for that one. But every now and then she'll try to shoot a jump shot or something. To try, I'll be walking or anybody just trying to strip the ball or something like she's slick. But
tell me about Hannah Gusters. I mean, I think everybody knows your game. All you got to do is just turn on the TV. You've played so many games. Hannah was a McDonald's All-American, the number 2 rated center in high school. She didn't play a lot for you guys last season, and she's got a lot of anticipation to play for Coach Mulkey here in Baton Rouge. What type of player is she?
Great, fantastic. She's amazing. Like, I remember in practice, I was like, Hannah, if you do that every time, who's going to stop you? No, seriously. She has the size and she has the moves and she has the ability. She's athletic, and the things she can do, like as a post player, she can shoot the ball. So, I mean, Hannah is a fantastic player, and with time, and with the right people and the right help, she's gonna be really, really hard to beat. I personally think she's gonna go down as top post player in the country. But Hannah's great. Playing with her and playing against her, like when we were practicing and stuff like that, always fun, always a challenge. And with Hannah, you know, she's real competitive. So she's gonna do what she has to do to win basketball games or whatever it is in practice. And she's a great kid. I love being around Hannah. She's fun and she's funny. So yeah. I'll be happy to be back with her.
You are a legend down in the New Orleans area around Destrehan. I mean, if you mention your name, I don't think you pay for a meal down there legally. I'm talking about me, not you. Did you even consider LSU coming out?
No, I did not.
Wow.
I did not. I went there. I will say that I went there on unofficial. Maybe it definitely was official, obviously. I went there unofficial, looked at the campus, but after that, no, I just didn't.
That tells you everything you need to know about the power of Kim Mulkey and what she's building with LSU. Moon Ursin was probably one of the greatest women's basketball player to come out of this state in the last decade. And to give you an idea of where the buzz is around the program, can you feel that now? Can you feel the excitement around LSU women's basketball?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. Where's the nickname come from?
Oh, geez. My mom and my aunt listening. I'm sorry. One of them, I asked before, where's the nickname come from? One of them apparently nicknamed me that when I was a baby. I don't know which one. I'm not going to say it on here because they're not going to get me. But the reason why it stuck is because I can jump so high. So people start saying, is it because you can jump to the moon? So throughout basketball, you know, people will say, oh, you jump to the moon. That's why you call moon. Yeah, that's why. But that's not really it. One of my aunt or my mom named me it when I was a kid. I always say my aunt. But
I know your mom is listening because I sent her the link to the show this morning. So shout out to Miss Moon, who's listening down there in Destrehan. Moon, it is great to have you home. I cannot wait to be in the PMAC and watching y'all play. There is a buzz around women's basketball that has not been in this community for a long, long time. You will be leading that force for Coach Mulkey when you ladies get on the floor coming up in October. Have a great off season. Welcome back home, and thank you for the time this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. There she is, Moon Ursin, checking in from Destrehan, from home this morning, as she's back at LSU. That tells you everything you need to know.
That's unreal.
I mean,
didn't even consider it.
She was a 3-year Louisiana Player of the Year, Gatorade State Player of the Year. She was a National All-American her senior year. And you could hear in her voice, she wanted to give respect. She was almost kind of like, she laughed like first, but like, no.
Not even a shot,
I didn't even consider it. I didn't even consider going to
nice,
LSU. Yeah, it was good. You know what I mean?
Tiger.
It was good. Nice is good. Yeah, got a good football facility. But I mean, other than that, we're not coming here to play basketball. Yeah. For sure. So shout out to Moon. Thank you for stopping by this morning. I think that's a great testimony of what the buzz is around LSU women's basketball right now, as she will be a part of it. Hannah Gusters, as she was talking about, will be a dominant impact player. Just give you an idea of how good Baylor's roster was last year. I mean, Gusters was the second-rated center in high school. Coming out, was a McDonald's All-American. And just couldn't scratch time because the roster was too good. Here at LSU, she will be an immediate impact player. So good stuff. Thank you to Moon for stopping by here. Remember, we're brought to you by RMB Builders. Rhett Bourgeois and the crew. RMB-builders.com is where you get in touch with Rhett. You can find him there online. Custom-made home. He can help you out if you need to restore the house that you're living in. He can remodel that for you. If you just need a handyman around the house to help you out. And just need a small project done, let Rhett and his crew help you out. But online at rmb-builders.com. Y'all grow up. We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. That was so Lloyd story. You need a hand job. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Bear over at Bear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Bear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back in here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Great interview from the Moon. Moon Ursin was here talking about coming home.
Could you tell she was from New Orleans if you didn't know her? Like, just her personality was very New Orleans.
Absolutely.
Very just
Laid
beam.
back.
Everything's on the table.
Cool.
Yeah,
Just kind of chill. Can hoop, cuz.
probably.
I mean, can light. Have you not seen her play?
I mean,
A hooper.
that kind of broke my heart. The
Hooper.
didn't even look at LSU. It's unreal.
Well, I mean, break your heart. I mean, you knew it.
I know it,
You know what
but
I
yeah,
mean?
but just to hear it, it's
mean,
like
this-
we weren't even on the radar.
That is how bad Nikki Fargas was at her job, where you had she's not Simone at all, but accolades, accomplishments, awards, 3 years in a row, the National State Player of the Year in Louisiana, recognized by Gatorade, sets all types of records down at Destrehan within the New Orleans area, and is a absolute folk hero down there. I mean, go bring up Moon Ursin's name around Destrehan in New Orleans to people that pay attention to women's college basketball or women's basketball at all. And I'm telling you, like, you won't pay for a meal down there. And you just heard LSU had no shot. They had no chance. I mean,
the backyard.
She laughed at the question.
Yeah.
She was like, no. I mean, not at all. So it is right. Nick Richard, who is one of our guys down there at Go Chevrolet, is inside of the bunker saying getting coaches like Mulkey is the exact reason why Woodward was hired. Can't wait to see who he hires for baseball. That is Scott Woodward's. That seems like his big draw. That seems like his skill set. You know, his skill that everybody recognizes is his ability to attract top talented coaches. Now, he opens up the checkbook everywhere he's been. Paid for Chris Peterson at the University of Washington. Paid for Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M. obviously paid for Kim Mulkey to get her here to Baton Rouge and expect him to pay whoever is the next LSU baseball coach. But as he told us here on this show a little over 3 weeks ago, was that is the expectation at LSU. That should be the expectation within the LSU community, is attracting the top leaders and top teachers in sports to the athletic department. Not just because of the checkbook and the check you're writing, because you want to build an environment of just greatness, excellence, and holding people accountable, and people that are accomplished and come with good reputations and have strategies that have worked within their sport for a lengthy time period, that comes in with good experience. I mean, that is what Scott Woodward is selling to the ticket and fan base, and that is what he's selling to the potential hires and candidates that he brings in. I mean, Kim Mulkey said it at her opening press conference. I'd imagine that we would hear the same thing in discussing whatever works out for the new baseball coach. And I would even go as granular as the offensive line coach for the LSU football team. That is someone that I'd imagine that Scott Woodward is going to have input on, and not necessarily make the final decision or give the name on who's the top candidate, but making sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted in bringing in the right person to represent LSU. I know that within Scott Woodward's football passion, right? And Woodward is a businessman at the end of the day. I think that I would label Scott Woodward as a political businessman that acts as LSU's athletic director. He's dominant in fundraising. He's dominant in recruiting. He's dominant in laying out a plan and a future plan for people to stick by that is successful. Outside of that, he's bringing in the people to run the department. Stephanie Remph and Verge Alsbury run the athletic department at LSU. I think Scott Woodward would tell you that openly. He's fundraising, building relationships with money people, making sure that the talented coaches that are out there are paying attention to what's happening at LSU. And I wonder sometimes on what the relationship is like between Woodward and Orgeron. A guy in Woodward's first season that Orgeron captures a national championship in stellar fashion. Undefeated, setting records, Heisman Trophy winner. Beat everybody on the way to collecting the hardware. And then an offseason following a national championship that was filled with the inability to get out and fundraise, get in people's face, show off the success that the football program was experiencing, that, and taking those successful conversations of selling what LSU is and turning that into money coming in the door. LSU wasn't able to do that. That all season was spent in watching the head coach jog shirtless on the beach, watching the head coach end up in social media pictures with his shirt off with a female that was out there circulating. Hires that were brought in the offseason that later the head coach admitted publicly that they did not interview. And now an offseason where it's untimely, but yet having to make another staff change and dishing out $700,000 if calls is not proven on why you're moving on for James Cregg. Scott Woodward loves to have his people in place. He's a smart enough businessman to recognize if the people that were already there when he took the job are successful, not to mess with it. I wonder what his point of view is of his football program. I saw the quote that he made to the radio station in early March stating that Coach Ed Orgeron is from South Lafourche. He understands the expectations of LSU. He knows 5-5 is not going to cut it. Read between the lines. What if your boss said that publicly? What would you think? He's on my ass. He's paying attention, obviously. But that 2019 equity that everybody was selling and everybody was pleading with the fan base to remember in 2020 when the wheels were falling off, looks like it's about burn up.
Yeah. After that last season, used all its magic erased.
Just burn up.
Not even if the season was bad, it's the way that we got there. It's all of Ed Orgeron's decisions on who to hire. They failed, and now you have another coach that you brought in that you fired again. It's not only that we didn't succeed; it's the manner and it's how we're not succeeding, and it's falling all at his feet. It's all of the people that he handpicked and chose not to interview to bring into LSU after a 2019 run, which is, I mean, he brought in those people also. So there's very much a give and take with Ed in terms of he's going to hit some home runs, but you can't hit duds either. Like, you maybe find some middle ground here.
He's hit as many duds as he's hit home runs.
Right.
I mean, now his home runs are magical, right? I mean, the Joe Burrows of the world and SEC titles and national championships are stories that you don't forget. But then there's Linehan, Pelini, Matt Canada's situation, the whatever's happening here with James Cregg and the turnover there to the off-the-field stuff that you have to deal with, his public relations just being a total disaster, his inability to recognize that you may not want to be so transparent when people ask you about the methods and ways you hire, and you admit publicly that you didn't interview 2 coordinators on your staff. I mean, it would be something if he didn't interview a couple of video guys. But if you're not interviewing coordinators, now I don't think that they make that mistake again, but the fact that that happened to me is borderline insubordination.
Especially when you have somebody like Scott Woodward, who, I'm not going to use the word meddle because that's not what he does. He is very much involved. And you saw it yesterday when he's walking Paul Mainieri to the plane when they're going to Oregon. Like, you never saw Joe Oliva do anything like that. And Chris Reed said as much. If you saw his tweet, he was like, that's how you know Scott Woodward's the right guy for this job, because Joe Oliva left the night before the national championship when baseball was playing Florida. Like, they saw him leave, and he never came back. He's like, when that happened, he was out in my mind. So to have a guy like Woodward that's Louisiana, he understands, like, the culture here, and he knows what's expected. I think it's important that he's involved.
It's unfair to compare Scott Woodward to Joe Oliva just because Joe Oliva was that bad at his job. I mean, he was just unattacked. I mean, the Chris Reed story, did you know that?
No.
I never knew that.
Me either.
I mean, that's just one more story that goes down in the annals of how in the hell did Joe Oliva make it at LSU? I mean, what athletic director flies out of Omaha the night before the national championship game? I mean, like, just say it out loud. Just say it out loud. You're doing what? I'm going back. You're going back? Your program's playing for the national championship tomorrow. What are you talking about? I mean, it's unfair because Oliva was just the worst.
Disinterested.
The worst. The absolute worst. We're brought to you. We got to get to Coach Burrow. We're brought to you daily by Johnson Spillers Dentistry. Remember, if you need pediatric dentistry, any dentist needs that you need, Johnson Spillers can help you out. They can also help you out with some Botox if you're interested out there. Gonzales and in Baton Rouge, online, johnsonspillers.com. When we come back, Jamar Chase has inked his contract with Cincinnati. Burrow and Chase, the 91 connection looks great even at the professional level. We will talk to Coach Burrow about some of the things that people are buzzing about there up in Cincinnati and getting Joe back on the field, having Jamar and Joe working alongside each other. And we were talking this morning as a staff, and we'll talk to Coach Burrow here shortly and ask him this here in a minute. From a football mind like Coach Burrow is, and he's been around the game for 35 years, how smart is his son in the game? What's the ceiling of his mental capacity as a football player from Coach Burrow's point of view? We'll ask him next right here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Are you self-employed? then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy@JordyCulottashow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Bear over at Bear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Bear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in LaPlace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Welcome back in here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. Any of the inventory that you're shopping down in LaPlace, they can get it to you in Baton Rouge, corner of Florida Boulevard and Sherwood Forest. Go Express Auto Sales. Go see our crew over there, Nick Richard, Lee Carney, and the crew. Always good to link up with our guy, man, Coach Jimmy Burrow, the absolute best. Joe's dad, and of course, Joe looks great up there in the knee brace and looks around 85%. But as Burrow said to the media last week, he's got to be out there around his team. It just shows his leadership, and that's who he is, man. I mean, quintessential Burrow. I sent a clip of Joe back at LSU to Coach Jimmy yesterday. I sent him the clip that you guys sent me on TikTok of Joe leading the practice and going to Michael Divinity before it started, talking about Divinity and how LSU's offense was going to get Divinity and that defense, they were going to get a part of their ass that day at practice, and it was great Burrow stuff. And then you turn on ESPN and you see him working alongside Jamar Chase with a couple of Cincinnati Bengals helmets on. Coach Jimmy Burrow is here with us this morning to talk a little football, and it's always great to catch up. Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Always. How is the man? Because he's just when you talk about he could miss this summer. He didn't have to be there. He didn't have to be out there. I would imagine that somebody in the franchise is like, look, Joe, if you don't want to go, buddy, you don't have to do this. His mindset, Coach, of just getting back to a state where he can get on the field and go through summer workouts. What have you seen from your point of view on him?
Well, it's just a lot of it goes back to how competitive he is and how committed he is really to his teammates. And that was a goal, to push as hard as he could and without going too fast, and kind of take it day by day, week by week, and things just started to progress to the point that he was able to be there and throw. And he'd been throwing for several weeks, but really just stationary targets, and was having success doing it as far as his knee feeling good. So, they worked up a plan, and there he is out there like you see, throwing to Jamar and all the other receivers. And but it's just a credit to not only the Dr. Elatrosh who did the surgery, but the Bengals training and rehabilitation staff. That's Nick Cosgrove is the leader at that, and they've just done a great job getting him back to at least where he is now.
Coach, I heard a podcast with Chris Collinsworth sitting down with Joe, and one of the parts that came up that was real interesting was the relationship that he has with Zach Taylor. I know I've asked you about Taylor in some of our chats and conversations, but it seems like Joe was able to develop a great rapport and relationship with Taylor going into his first year. This was even before he had taken a snap at the professional level. Can you talk about how that relationship has developed now that Joe's been in the system for a year, and it looks like and sounds like those guys have really the ultimate trust in one another?
Yeah, that's true. He really has developed a great relationship with Zach and also the other offensive coaches. And it's kind of tough because other than a few minutes at the combine that year, there really wasn't any meetings with Zach. But I had known Zach somewhat from Nebraska, and he had coached with the University of Cincinnati, and we had visited over there a few times. So, but once they got together and they started with their Zoom meetings during the pandemic, I think Joe was just impressed that they were always willing to look back at LSU film and take things that worked for Joe and that Joe liked and kind of put it in their offensive playbook. And I think anytime that happens, the relationship starts out really good. So it's a spread offense, which Joe loves, and as I said, there's a lot of similarities to some of the things they did at LSU. And then on game day, he trusts Zach with the play calling, and that was starting to really get better and better before Joe got hurt. And so really it's just a trust factor, and that relationship hopefully will continue.
One thing that I imagine that he is very excited about adding to the Cincinnati playbook that he had at the LSU playbook is Jamar Chase. maybe the best player on offense outside of him. That chemistry looks like it's picked up right where it left off in 19, Coach.
Yeah, it was awesome to be able to, for the Bengals to draft Jamar. I know Joe knows he's a great player, and they were also really good friends, as were many of those guys on that LSU football team. They still continue to talk wherever Justin Jefferson is, or Clyde, or a lot of those guys. So just to get another guy that Joe felt comfortable with, not only as a person and friend, but certainly a great football player. And we had gotten to know Jimmy Chase and Jamar's mother, and so that was big for us. We've communicated. We've been to Cincinnati and had brunch with them, and there's when you come from New Orleans to Cincinnati, it's quite a change, and they had a lot of questions, and even as we did last year, as far as where do you go for this, or how do we do this, and so we had a relationship before, and we're looking forward to the tailgates if they let us back in this year, which I think they're going to. But getting Jamar is huge, certainly.
Coach, we've seen Joe make a leap from year 1 to year 2, like we did at LSU. I'm wondering, and he's obviously going to his second year with the Bengals. Did he say anything from 2018 to 2019 to you, like, Coach, we could be special here? And does he have any similar feelings about where the Bengals are?
In the spring of that year, he did. He said, I think we do have a chance to be really, really good. And my question was, what makes you think that? And he says, we're going against a great defense and one of the best defense as far as personnel, and they can't stop us. So that in his mind, indicated that they would be able to do that against a lot of people, and so he thought they could be special. And I think with the Bengals, he thinks it's certainly a work in progress, but the pieces are starting to fall in place. That they're going to be dynamic on offense with T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Jamar and Joe Mixon at running back. So in his mind, the future looks great, and I think he thinks that down the road they can be special, but certainly a lot of hard work still needs to take place.
From your coaching experience, and you've been around it more than 40 years, this is a question about your son, but if you can you answer it as a coach? What is the ceiling on his mental capacity as a football player? I mean, I'm just watching people diagnose and talk about what he says and what he sees, and it's almost like they're talking about a football savant or one of these generational type players. And in your opinion, in your mindset, were there landmarks or mile markers along the way where you kind of got back to the house and said, damn, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, right. I mean, he's really, really smart. What is I guess just the initial question, what from your point of view is his ceiling in mental capacity around the game of football, and how smart is he?
Well, he has a great memory of things that have happened to him on the football field in the past. And I think, having the experience to make sure that things like that have maybe happened bad, like an interception, he remembers why and how not to do that again. And it kind of leads into him being able to not make the same mistake twice. And if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm watching him, and he's always throwing to the open receiver, and you say, well, that's what they're supposed to do, but it's not that easy to find the open receiver every time. But if you're trying to defend him and changing up the coverage, and he seems to always have a great feel for that. He understands coverages and he understands pass protection also. So it just adds up to what you're looking for in a quarterback. And he's always studied the game and had great preparation but really again, just his knowledge of the game and his memory of things that he watches on film and the memory of the games and the experiences in those games. He really draws on that in the future games.
Looks like he's working on his deep ball this offseason and throwing the deep ball. What have you seen? It seems like this is something that he's intently working on.
Well, he's always been a great deep ball thrower. High school, even at Ohio State, and then at LSU, certainly, especially 2019, and they weren't able to connect last year. And who knows the reasons? But he takes something every year that he really wants to get better at, and that's something individually he wants to get better at. And Zach Taylor has mentioned that as a team, they really want to be able to have more explosive plays and throw deep. And I think Jamar will help, and T. Higgins coming back for his second year, and Tyler Boyd, those guys, they'll be able to get downfield this year. And I think Joe, having the mindset that he's going to be better at it, and they're going to be better at it as a team, will play out in the future. But yeah, they're working on it. I mean, his arm is stronger. He's developed a little more velocity on the ball, and when you're a rookie quarterback, not everything clicks as easily as you would like, especially with really no OTAs or mini camps or anything like that last year. So, when he got hurt, it was still a work in progress. I think they would have gotten better at the deep ball if he hadn't got hurt. But it's something that they have to get better at. I think he understands that and wants to really get back to being able to throw deep to those guys.
Burrow's summer vacation planned? And does the Golden Boy make it, or do you guys not see him for the next 20 years on a summer vacation?
Well,
Got my own money, cuz.
Right.
yeah, we're always we've gone down to Florida for many, many years with different places between Destin and Panama City, and we'll continue to do that this year. And when I ask him about things like that, even we have a 4th of July get together planned, and he just says it's a game time decision. So that means he might the day before say, "Hey, I'll see you in Florida," or he might say, "I can't go," or he might in the middle of the vacation call and say he's on his way. So game time decision. But we've done it for so long, and certainly when he was growing up and in high school, he was with us every summer, and Jamie and Dan are always there. But he hasn't been for 2 or 3 summers now. So we're hopefully that game time decision will be a go, and he'll be there.
Well, it's always great to catch up with you, Coach. Send our best to Miss Robin and the crew, Danny and the boys, and of course to Joey. As you guys have a great summer, we'll catch up soon.
All right, thanks for having me. I listened to your interview of the young lady Moon, the basketball, and that was great. I'm looking forward to following that women's basketball team too.
Kim Mulkey was a great hire down here in Baton Rouge, Coach. I mean, everybody has really responded to bringing her aboard.
Yes, and I mentioned my dad was women's basketball coach after he played at Mississippi State, and I grew up on the bench as with my dad doing that, and my mom was a legendary player, so I'll be following and rooting. Give me another sport to root for the Tigers.
We'll talk soon, Coach. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, there he is, the man. Coach Jimmy Burrow checking in this morning here.
I think they said his mom dropped 80 in a basketball game in high school.
Like
She did, yeah. Oh, no, it's they get it honest.
Yeah.
They get it honest. The Burrow, I mean,
Watch
that
out.
starting second baseman for Virginia's baseball team is Jimmy's nephew.
I mean, they're
his,
all over the
his
place.
brother's son is the Virginia second baseman.
Do you think Joe was popping cigars on family vacation? Because when that video came out, that was not his first experience with the cigar. He smoked that thing like a a hero.
Absolutely. Very experienced.
Yes. So I wonder if they're letting him kind of pop back on the beach, have a cigar with the pop.
At this point,
I mean, you can do whatever you have
he's
to.
making the rules.
Yeah.
right.
But I was wondering like 18, 19, and they're like, yeah, come on, have one
still
with
on the come up.
Yeah, have one with pops.
That's right. Great stuff. Appreciate Coach Burrow for stopping by here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, Nevadis brings you the Jordy Culotta Show every single day. You can find them at nevadis.com, helping you create custom web designs and mobile design development. Once you need that with your business, they can help you in saving time, creating resources for you. Get in touch with them online at nevadis.com, Novateus, nevadis.com. We will talk to Dr. Reef coming up here with Dr. Sharif Taba, who is the CEO down in South Miami and South Florida from Athletics Rehab and Recovery, who has been working one-on-one with Alvin Kamara since he's been in the NFL. He's working alongside superstars like Mark Ingram and Quan Alexander, but some of the stuff that he's got Alvin Kamara doing is just some of the more creative workouts that you will see for athletes. And once you see them, I mean, it gives you an idea of why they are who they are and we are who we are. It's a reason why those cats can play it and we have to watch it
and talk about
because some of the things that he's got Kamara doing, like balancing on what would be a balance board, right? I mean, we've all been into a weight room where there is a cylinder that rolls under this board, and Kamara is holding his balance while he is working on his stiff arm and doing this the entire time without either foot hitting the floor. So he's staying almost perfectly balanced while he's punching in the air. I mean, he's stiff arming. He's working on a stiff arm with Dr. Reef. We've got the video. We're going to play it during the interview. He's going to be here next. We've also got hopes that we're going to link up with Bo Bordelon, who's a talented offensive lineman down at Newman, who's committed to LSU for the class of 2022. We'll ask him about the offseason. We'll ask him about some of the stuff that's happening in recruiting, and we'll ask him about his reaction to the news on James Cregg, who was terminated last night at LSU within LSU's football program. So Ed Orgeron and the crew looking for an offensive line coach going into an enormous recruiting weekend. So hopefully we can link up with Bordelon before we get out of here. Special thanks to Jimmy Burrow. That was always, as always, fantastic insight and fantastic conversation. We'll be right back with Dr. Reef here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculottashow.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculottashow.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome in here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Welcome back to the Jordy Culotta Show. Good stuff from Coach Jimmy Burrow. Always good to catch up with Joe's old man. Get an update on where Joe is. Looks like he's going to be well ready to go for the opener as he's over there in off-season training activities, working alongside Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, some of the names that Coach is talking about.
That's that crew, Coach.
Cincinnati, that's a bunch of playmakers, man.
Do you think he rocks the knee brace for the rest of his career?
No. Hell no.
Do you think he wears it this year?
I think he has to wear it this year just to keep it stable. But
gone.
Yeah, I mean,
He doesn't seem like a brace guy.
I think for him it shows weakness, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean, he's not trying to do that.
Yeah, it's a bullseye.
If he wants to get it right, he may be doing this. I don't even know, because my guy down in South Florida, Dr. Reef, Dr. Sharif Tabah, is the CEO of Athletics, Rehab, and Recovery. We have talked to him before, and always he's got great information. He's great to talk to. If you're in the South Florida area, I know Louis Garcia, who is a great storyteller that was just on Hold the Rope, a former LSU baseball player, is a star down in South Miami. I'd imagine that Dr. Reef, with the people that he works with. I mean, Dr. Reef has social media up, and make sure that you are following Dr. Reef on social media to keep up with what Athletics Rehab has going on. But he's at Dr. Spell it out, at Dr._Reef is where you can hit him on on Twitter, and at the same handle on Instagram. And he comes back with us after more video has come out of Alvin Kamara just doing freaky shit, man. I mean, he's just doing alien type stuff inside of a workout facility where Dr. Reef has the trust of maybe the best running back in the NFL to get him right every single offseason, and they've been doing it since Kamara has been in the league, and it looks like it has, brought more. I see Mark Ingram there, Quan Alexander's working out there, and Dr. Reef is here with us on the Jordy Culotta Show. Always good to catch up with you, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, Jordy, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good. Saw the latest come out with Alvin and what he has going on this offseason. And just from his professional growth, Doc, you can probably speak to this better than anyone, probably better than anyone that's around Alvin, and just how strong and how much more confident of an athlete he is now compared to where he was coming out, because in just some of the stuff that you guys have going on, I'd imagine that it takes balls to even ask somebody to do that because of just the inability of the masses to do what he does. We're showing the social media now, and it is amazing of him on that balance board and punching you away. I mean, can you explain to our viewers and to us what is going on?
Yeah, absolutely. He's always an incredible athlete and a ton of fun to work with. And as we always say, he just continues to level up in his abilities. So we'll have to continue to level up in the challenges. But, so this balance board here is creating a side-to-side, or what we call frontal plane instability. As a running back, a lot of what you do is that side-to-side movement, stepping over the trash, getting through the hole, and trying to get out into the field. So, we always stress a lot of strength and stability as well as power in that frontal plane. So in this situation, we had started working on that balance board. That's the Rev balance board. It's pretty awesome. There's different levels to it, where one's like a half rocker, and then there's one that's like a foam, not a foam, but like an air dynadisc that kind of is in all directions. And then the one we're using here is a hard roller, which is the hardest one. It really gives you a lot of side-to-side shift. So we had worked on just getting comfortable on that standing, and then ball planning, and then squatting. And, over the years, it's been progressing. We got into, I think earlier we posted earlier this offseason, doing like a PNF chop lift, where he's squatting down with a band, coming up and rotating away, and overcoming all these instability forces while adding external forces, which just forces him to have really good core control. So now in this video, we said, okay, let's try to even take it up a whole nother notch and make it a little bit more, if you will, simulating football in the sense of, okay, let's simulate now he has to have this instability and then stiff arm, which he has to reach away from his center of mass, make contact with an object, and each contact is going to be different. Does he hit it clean, or does he miss a little bit? And how hard is the ball versus is it soft and, compliant and things like that. So now he has to also overcome that perturbation of the contact or the lack of contact, whatever it might be, while he reaches away from the center of mass. So the goal is to make it so when he's on the field and maybe he's, given a juke and then throws a stiff arm, he's able to have good core control and body awareness to be able to maintain the direction that he's trying to go.
Isn't that his best attribute, is his balance? I mean, like, if you were to analyze him as a player, wouldn't you say his best attribute is his balance? Because it never looks like he gets bowling pinned. He never looks like he gets knocked around out there, which I'd imagine on a football field at the NFL level is very difficult to do.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's a combination of balance and core control and what I like to call body awareness, proprioception or body awareness. So there's a lot of the different types of challenges that we put in there in order to work on his ability to maintain core control, overcome unstable environments, which will kind of replicate that, getting hit and knocked off your center of mass and being able to keep your feet up under you and keep trucking in the direction you want to go.
How do you create these exercises? Does he give you the idea, or do you have a team behind you saying, guys, we got to keep the challenges keep growing? Exactly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's really a progression. We just look at finding a challenge, an exercise, and look at a function and say, okay, how do we strengthen his stability? Okay, we work on balance. Now let's work on core control. Okay, so we put him on these unstable situations. All right, now that gets easy. So let's say, all right, let's get a little more specific, and now we're going from a plane with a sagittal front to back movement. Okay, so now that you got two planes of movement going on, so you're challenging the brain. Now that's easy. All right, so let's keep leveling it up and finding ways to be a little bit more function specific as we go. And of course, this is only a piece of what we do in the off season. We're also outside doing, running drills, agility drills, running back type movement drills. And of course, he's also got like a traditional strength and conditioning program with, regular lifts and runs and all that kind of stuff as well.
How quickly does he master this, like these drills that you show him? Because as a mere mortal, I feel like I couldn't even do the beginning of that. 1 foot in front of the other is a challenge.
Yeah, it really depends. For the most part, the answer is too damn fast. But for the most part, he does a good job of overcoming it pretty quick. He's got great motor learning. And occasionally we'll find a good one to stump him. But if I give him enough reps on it or a couple of days on it, he's always going to master it. Just the other day, I think it was last Friday, he came in and I had just finished my workout and I was taking him through some stuff. I said, all right, screw it, I'll jump in. And we started quickly building off of one another. And I had some ideas and he's like, oh, what if we tweak it like this? And, it was killing me and killing him. And then I could do one he couldn't do and he could do one I couldn't do. And we just kept pushing each other throughout the whole workout. And we ended up inventing a whole bunch of stuff and we were laughing. We're like, wow, we just made a whole Rolodex just in this last hour. So it's cool.
Sounds like the studio, like a rap studio. I'm going in.
Yeah.
Cut that one. Cut that one.
Exactly.
So what are your expectations for him? Because I thought he was the best back in the league last season. I thought he was the best player in the league last season. What are your expectations for him?
Yeah, I know. I joked to them. I said, listen, slow down because where else are we going to go? I said,
Right.
You're out here setting records, tying records. I said, I told them last year, if you will go and win the Super Bowl, we have nothing to work for next year. Kind of joking, of course. But so I anticipate, a lot more of the same greatness out of him. I'm really excited. Obviously, this is going to be a unique year for him without Drew. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff falling on his shoulders. I always said that I felt like Alvin was Drew's, second option always. It was like down the field and then it was, drop off the AK. So that helped him a lot. So it'll be interesting to see how these, new quarterback situations will challenge him differently on the field. But I think overall, what's great is we came into this offseason healthy, very high confidence off of an amazing year. And we just really quickly picked up where we left off and continued to build. Whereas, of course, last year we had to rebuild a lot due to some of those injuries that he had during the previous season. So I do expect an amazing year out of him this year.
Doctor of Physical Therapy, Dr. Reef is on Twitter at Dr_Reef. He's also a certified strength and conditioning specialist who he is working with some of the top athletes in the country every single day. We also are big fans of Quan Alexander. Obviously, he went to school at LSU before he was drafted by Tampa, then played at San Francisco, and last season was hurt in New Orleans. It looks like he is progressing very well under your guidance.
Yeah, Quan's doing amazing. I mean, he's got to be the fastest recovering Achilles I've ever worked with. It's incredible. Every day we're just progressing down the road. He's doing things. Now he's 5 months out. He was doing things at 4.5 months out that most of the time you won't see till almost 6 months. So he definitely looks amazing. We're back doing positional drills and just working on cleaning up some of the mechanics, movement in all directions, change of directions, resisted acceleration, which is one of the hardest things to get back to after an Achilles just because of the overload stress to the Achilles. But overall, he just really looks incredible. He comes with the most aggressive, can-do attitude every day, and he's just a pleasure to work with.
Doc, how was your business affected by COVID because of you being so hands-on? And we've talked to so many people on this platform, whether it be coaches, players, administrators, and everybody's got a story on how the last 365 days has affected their personal and business life. Things seem to be trending back to normal ways and people getting out and supporting the sports that they love. But from you, who works hand in hand with professional athletes and people in physical therapy every single day, how much was your operation affected?
Yeah, I mean, COVID was obviously a giant challenge for our industry. Luckily, as medical providers as well, we were considered essential. So we were legally able to continue to operate, which is great. But, of course, we're also inside of performance gyms. So the gyms were being shut down. So even though we could operate, we were forced to figure out a unique way to do so. And we really looked at it like, particularly for our athletes, because it was the middle of NFL offseason last year, these are guys that can't afford to just say, okay, well, I guess I got to get home for the next 3 months. Like, that was not really an option. So we had to get creative. And the answer really was showing up for in-homes, helping guys out, coming to their house, finding local parks to do work. Had guys over to my house. I mean, we had Mark and Alvin at my house doing work. We eventually even ended up getting like an Airbnb space and ended up running a little operation out of it. It was pretty comical, but we had like a pretty thick situation where we had a pool and a big outdoor court and some field space, and we were able to keep everybody safe, using masks and cleaning everything, and be able to still get some work in that these guys really needed. So we were super happy to get back into the building, towards the middle of last year. And in Florida, things have been a little bit more conducive for getting back to work, which is good. But it's every day it's progressing in the right direction here.
Doc, we saw some video of Alvin Kamara on a snowboard, and he said it was his first time, which is hard to believe. Did you prep him for that? Did he come in and say, give me some drills so I can go out here and shred?
That was incredible. I called him and I said, what is going on? I said, there's no way this is your first time, because I snowboard, and I know what it takes to get going and to learn. And I was like, you're hitting a box and you're carving and you're changing your heel edge and toe edge. I said, what the heck's going on? He said, this is what we do all off season. What do you mean? So it was pretty funny. He actually told me that the instructor he was working with said, there's no way this is your first time. He said, well, I do this all off season. He's like, well, I thought you said you would never snowboard. He said, no, but I just do balance all off season.
So good.
Essentially snowboarding.
He's just chilling too, man.
Incredible.
The video of him, he's just cruising down the mountains,
right
dude.
now.
I mean, it's
It's
unbelievable. Dr. Reef, he's one of our favorite interviews. You can find out everything that he's got going on, athleticsrehab.com. He's down in South Florida. He's on social media. His handle is @doctor, so spell out Dr. DOCTOR _ Reef to keep up with all the cool videos that are coming out with the off-season training around Kamara, Mark Ingram, Quan Alexander. I see Robbie Anderson from the Charlotte Panthers, Carolina Panthers.
Get Joe Burrow in there.
That's right. Everybody is down there, and I know that he is very busy, so we appreciate the couple of minutes that he spares for us here on this Thursday morning. Thank you, Doc.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Always. There is Dr. Reef checking in from South Florida this morning as some of the stuff that he's got some of these professional athletes doing. I mean, I'd imagine when he spells it out or shows it to some of them for the first time, they're probably like, say what?
You're nuts.
What?
You want me to do what?
I'd imagine people turn around and walk out. Like, I'm not doing
is
this.
Nuts.
And then when you see Alvin Kamara doing it, you're just like, oh, it can be done. The most impressive one is the second video that I showed when he's calling out the colors and he's on a Bosu ball and he's catching these rings and he's color coordinating them at the same time. And you're like, that should even be allowed.
How does your brain work that fast?
Exactly, and your
is
balance
amazing.
is just so good. Is that all core?
Yes.
Just ask the doctor.
Yes. I mean, it
And like
just
all
to,
your stabilizer
to
muscles.
be able to stand on that plane like that is
unreal.
nothing
Have you ever
but
done a
core strength.
Squat on those? They're
I mean,
so
really,
hard
the
to
way
do.
that you're holding yourself up is like in between your thighs and your chest.
That's
I mean, you're just kind of strength
my strongest
holding,
and weakest part of my
holding
body.
your stuff up, right?
I guess, dude.
yeah.
If I hopped on that thing, it'd be 2 broken ankles.
Yes, it would. Let me see if Bo Borderline has some time this morning here. Give me 30 seconds. I'll be back here, and hopefully we can have a conversation with Bo Borderline. If not, we'll get back to the conversation about what LSU does at the offensive line coaching position, or just give our thoughts there as James Cregg is out after being on staff since 2018. Daily, we're brought to you by Elevate Treatment and Alcohol Center, Drug and Alcohol Rehab Center here in Baton Rouge, where they are dedicated to treating patients who are battling drug and alcohol addiction. Find out how you can start your treatment online this morning by logging on to elevatetreatment.com. That's ELEV, the number 8, treatment.com. Elevatetreatment.com. Get in touch with them online this morning. We will close out the Jordy Culotta show next. We may be talking about Borderline, but we will focus on the vacancy on LSU's football staff with James Cregg being ousted on Wednesday night. More when we come back here, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Bear over at Bear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Bear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. All right, welcome back in here to the Jordy Culotta Show, closing it out here on this Thursday morning. Special thanks to Dr. Reef, Dr. Sharif Taba from Athletics Performance down in South Florida, as he was here talking about some of the offseason training that Alvin, Kamara, Mark Ingram, and the crew are going through. Those Kamara videos, if you haven't seen them, hopefully you saw them during the interview, are just... they're incredible. You have to see them to believe them. I mean, you have to see them to believe them. And
snowboarding, I had to see to believe. That was...
Is that unreal?
That's his first time.
First time.
And he's just hands in his pockets.
Chilling.
He's just chilling, dude. He's carving it up. And he's just... it acts like he's done it like, whenever you go, if you've ever been snow skiing or snowboarding, and you see those, 5 or 6-year-olds out there that are zooming past you, he's going to be like this forever. This kid's already good at it.
Yeah.
That's what Kamara looked like. He's been doing it his whole life. Unbelievable.
So special thanks to Dr. Reef and sharing some time with us and a little insight there. Remember, follow him on Twitter. It's worth it, if just nothing else, for the videos at Dr._Reef. Jimmy Burrow, of course, was great, as we always appreciate catching up with the coach, talking a little bit about Joe working on throwing the deep ball this all season, working alongside Jamar Chase.
The beard.
And everything. Summer vacation plans.
Game time decision. Quote of the day.
That's a great way to live.
Quote. Yeah.
It's a great way to live. I'm a game time decision. I'll let you know.
Love you, Dad.
College Football Hall of Fame announced their ballot yesterday. Tigers got 2 on there. Kevin Faulk and Bradie. Is Kevin Faulk still not in the College Football Hall of Fame?
Dude, it's unbelievable.
I mean, what are the credentials? What do you need?
Those?
I mean, what do you have to do to get in? I mean, this is the 5th time that Faulk has appeared on the ballot. First time for Bradie James. But, I mean, good God. Faulk, who finished his LSU career with a school record in rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, and holds the SEC record for all-purpose yards overall and still holds 10 LSU records.
He's not in.
What the hell do you got to do, man? I mean, Lord.
3 rings with the Pats.
I was looking at some of the qualifications to get in, and he checked every box. They were like...
He's got to check some boxes twice.
Yes, it was unbelievable. They're like, it also was contingent on what you did your NFL career, what you did after your college football career. It's like, well, he's got okay. And continue.
Tom Brady called him his most favorite all-time teammate. Is that enough?
Is that enough?
3 rings later? I mean, what does this guy got to do to get in? He needs to get in. 5th time on the ballot. And then Bradie James, who's on there for the first time, a tackling machine, man. I mean, if anything about Bradie James, that cat was always getting up from the bottom of the pile. I mean, he was always around the football. Finished his LSU career with over 415 tackles. Number 2 in LSU history on that list. He graduated back in 2003. He was an All-American selection back in 2002. He missed that natty by 1 year. I wish they would have redshirted him. I wish he didn't had an opportunity to be on a national championship team because he was just such a great player and such a great dude. We graduated high school together. I think he came back for his senior year, and Trev Faulk left.
That's what it was. They got me through some dark times.
Yes. But we graduated high school the same year Bradie James and I did, and met at a summer camp going into our senior seasons. And for whatever reason, we just were cool with each other and we stayed in touch. And he was always just the most down-to-earth, cool. I tell you what, Dee Bro and the LSU gymnastics program experienced a ton of success and their attendance skyrocketed. It was really around the time that the Bradie James Foundation began the pink effort, and it was built in harmony with the LSU gymnastics program and Dee Bro. I mean, I guarantee you can very much relate to LSU's gymnastics explosion from a interest standpoint and the tickets and sold out to the Bradie James Foundation and some of the stuff that he had going on in partnership with LSU gymnastics. So good to see both of those guys on. Kevin Faulk, I mean, it is way past due to get him into this thing. Too. Yes, he is. And then Bradie James, who's on the list for the first time. Some more news coming out yesterday. Have not been able to get confirmation from Bo Bordelon. So big news of the day is that James Cregg is out, LSU's offensive line coach. He was terminated last night. We have yet to see any reports or anything official on that. We put out a couple of names to watch as far as guys that could be potential replacements for James Cregg. And we mentioned Kevin Mawai. We mentioned Ben Wilkerson. Rob Sales' name came up. Sales is the offensive line with the New York Giants, so I don't know how much
why would you leave
this
that?
Intrigues him. Just because he's a Louisiana guy, played at LSU.
And it's a chance to be an actual head of the position coach as opposed to an assistant, and at a pretty notable school if he wants to continue in the profession. I'd imagine that's almost a step up.
Yeah. Brad Davis from Arkansas continues to be a name that is discussed. Davis is a guy that would check all the boxes. He is a big personality. He's got one of those infectious types of personalities where he's a really good recruiter, can get into a room and fit in and hold conversation, start conversation. And he also is a developer. I mean, he's also a guy that can coach it and develop it as well with on the field. So Brad Davis, who's at Arkansas, is a name to watch that continues to come up.
Isn't their head coach wasn't he a former offensive line coach also?
Yes.
Yeah, Sam Pittman?
Yes, Sam Pittman is an offensive line coach. And then Alex Atkins from Florida State is another name to watch as far as a potential guy on a university, a college program's coaching staff and could potentially come over to LSU. Alex Atkins at Florida State and Brad Davis at Arkansas are two names to keep an eye on in that offensive line turnover. If you want to get our thoughts and our opinions on it, we really opened up today's show with about 25 minutes on what it means for LSU football, what it means for Ed Orgeron, and what it means on the expectations in both recruiting and on the field development, because it obviously needs to improve at that position. LSU needs to get better players at the offensive line, and once they get here, they need to be better developed during their time here. And if that was the reason on James Craig's ousting, then maybe that will come to light. But there has been some rumors say so, nothing official, and I have nothing to report as anything factual, only here to give you what the rumors on the street. Same thing that you're probably hearing is that some recruiting violations may have happened. There's nothing official around that. It seems like something happened suddenly to make this decision just come out of an evening press release. Just a Wednesday evening press release seems very peculiar in the beginning of June, where the dead period was just lifted in college football recruiting. And it's from a timing standpoint, it's confusing and a little awkward. So maybe they can make that. They will announce that when the news becomes official. Other news from yesterday that deserves a little bit of time here before we get out of here is that Mike Krzyzewski is stepping down after this season. Duke's head basketball coach, obviously, Mike Krzyzewski, who is the winningest coach in Division I men's basketball history, has led the Blue Devils to 5 national championships. He's been in Durham for 41 seasons, and he is stepping down after this season. That was announced yesterday. Duke associate head coach John Shire will get the nod here on this job, which is a really enormous gig for Shire.
I was just going to bring that up to you. You got to sign Willie Wade. You got to lock him up.
That's what I said yesterday.
UNC's lost to Coach Duke, Arizona.
Wouldn't you say it's kind of the end of an era for college basketball? You can see the old guard changing over.
The shift.
Boeheim's leaving. Who's the best coach? Jay Wright now?
Jay Wright would be up
Tony
there.
Bennett.
Calipari is going to be up there. Tony Bennett would get some respect. I'd say Mark Few at Gonzaga.
Absolutely, yeah.
Has got to get some run. Mick Cronin.
Bill Self.
Bill Self signed a
Baylor,
lifetime contract by Scott Drew.
Scott Drew,
Is at Baylor. Let me think from a conference standpoint.
Rick Barnes.
Rick Barnes at Tennessee is a very good coach. I think if you just
look at the SEC coaches, like that's a solid group, like Will and Nate Oates and all of them. Yeah.
Musselman.
You have Buzz at Texas A&M. You got Musselman at Arkansas. Kermit Davis at Ole Miss.
Look at the brain power in this room, dude. We're just cooking.
Who's that? Matt White at Florida. Is a really good coach.
Yeah. Works out too much for me.
He's got Louisiana. Yeah, he is. He's very.
I mean, we got to be doing some basketball stuff instead, huh?
You could iron the shirt off of his back.
He would love to hear you say that, I'm sure.
But locking up Willie Wade is because the shift from old guard to new guard. Well, Wade kind of looks like he's at the top of the list of the new age.
And those Blue Bloods don't think they consider the SEC to be part of their little club.
No.
Like the Kentucky, well, I guess Kentucky is SEC, but I was just like Duke, North Carolina, all those schools that put basketball first, and the SEC is steady catching up to them.
Right.
So I'm sure they want to try to make a splash higher.
It's all about just who you know in AAU, and the game's changing, transfer portal, who you know, those connects, because when you had those tampering, I guess, in the transfer portals, a lot of the ways you could connect was guys who you associated, who they played with in AAU, but hey, are they happy here or there? So it's changing.
And like we said on Wade a couple of weeks back when we were urging the administration to get this deal done as far as an extension and or a raise, and like I said, I'm not urging for more dollars. I think that the $2.5 million salary for Will Wade makes a lot of sense. I think he's paid appropriately. But I think he deserves more years on his contract for what he's accomplished. I mean, a good agent's probably going to go in there and say you deserve more money because they've won basketball games. They've been in the tournament.
Best record in the conference.
They've put guys into the league. They've graduated players. I mean, they've done the things that the job task calls for. Has there been some distractions around the program since he's been here? Yes. Is there any evidence pointing to the fact that he cheated? No. So from a perspective of locking up a good employee or somebody that is doing his job at a, top 8%, top 10% level of the sport, makes a lot of sense. And I can guarantee this. There are administrators and athletic directors who are paying attention to the way that he is having success in the new age of which college basketball is recruited and played on the floor. And if it's not respected in Baton Rouge, somebody will pay him respect somewhere. The game is all about winning on the floor. Mm-hmm. It's about selling tickets. It's about interest in program. It's about intrigue around the sport. Now, we're in the belly of the beast. We're in the forest. But wouldn't you say that LSU's guy does that just about as good as anybody out there?
It's one of the best recruiters.
He's definitely got this transfer portal thing.
He's 2 steps ahead of everybody.
The transfer portal figured out. He's definitely been able to. I think that his best accomplishment and his biggest success outside of the numbers, the 39 regular season wins or the 3 seasons in a row of winning more regular season games than any other coach, 3 seasons taking his program to the tournament and postseason, putting guys into the NBA. His biggest success to me, and what says to a decision maker, if I am an administrator and it's my task to bring in guys to lead programs or lead, to bring in coaches, is the fact of how relevant he has stayed with the black cloud around him. Because you think that football and other sports dirty recruit, there is no game out there that dirty recruits worse than college basketball. There's only about 6 spots per year on a 15-man roster. I mean, it is intense competition of guys going after. Once you get to that level of a player, there's only about 8 to 10 schools that really have a chance. And LSU has bullied their way into the table, thrown a couple of elbows and made a spot for themselves at the table, pissing off a lot of people. A lot of them are you seeing retiring now. Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, those guys, they don't like Will Wade. They hate Will Wade because Will Wade is exactly who K was and Roy Williams was 30 years ago. Those guys were trying to figure out the landscape and how to be competitive and how to get the big contract and how to run a program and how these coaches are getting these upper echelon players. Well, they're cheating. I mean, what do you mean? What do you mean, Mike? I mean, they're paying those guys to go to Georgetown. I mean, they're paying those guys to go to St. John's. They're paying those guys to go to Louisville. Oh, Indiana. What am I going to do? You're going to have to figure out a program on how to get away with cheating. Mm-hmm. I mean,
launder your money.
That's what you're going to have to do if you want to go stick somewhere and get players. I mean, Krzyzewski, and I've got respect for Krzyzewski. I'm not dumping on what K has accomplished in 41 years there. And I'm sure for a certain time period, he was doing it the right way. But he also adapted to the one-and-done philosophy where he saw John Calipari getting and making waves and winning national titles. K's done it both ways. If you go back to his 2010 team, he did it with the majority of upperclassmen. In fact, John Shire was one of the players on that 2010 team. But his last 2 natties have been built around one-and-dones. And if you don't think that you got to play games and getting down to the muck and the sewer of recruiting to get to those type of players, nobody gives a damn about Duke's brotherhood at that level. Nobody cares about the historical reference of what Duke means to the basketball of, or what it means to men's college basketball. Nobody really cares that he coached Kobe Bryant, LeBron James at the Olympic level.
Oh, wait.
I mean, it's not that big of a sell. So Krzyzewski's probably saying, you know what? Transfer portal, one-and-dones, playing all these games, got to go back and forth.
Dyeing my hair.
Name, image, and likeness.
I'm over it, man. Name, image, and likeness. I'm over it. They got Zion's stepdad on tape talking to Kansas's assistant coach about money. Big money. Life-changing money for a year or two. For a guy that's going to spend just a year or two in college basketball before going to make generational money can really make an impact on you. He didn't go to Kansas. Zion went to Duke. Zion don't know nothing about the brotherhood at Duke. He knows that's where the largest number was. And that's okay. That's fine. That's what the sport is. That's what college basketball is. And that's how you compete. We've said it time and time again. If you don't play the game, you're Trent Johnson's program, where you're asking band members to try out to play in the SEC. And I'm not laughing at it. That's just the hard, cold facts of it. I mean, we were all here when the tuba player was getting the majority of the minutes in the paint for Trent Johnson's team that went 0 in the league. So, John Shire and Duke, what a gig for him.
Oof.
I mean, it's not the best college basketball job.
I don't want to.
Because it doesn't have facilities to the standpoint of, they want to keep Cameron Indoor this homey, small, kind of.
I think that's some of the allure of it, though.
Retro field, definitely, 100%.
It's like Wrigley Field.
To a degree, yep. But they do have the facilities around that.
Yeah.
Around that. And, you obviously have the recruiting opportunities with the name on your chest. So, I've seen Quinn Snyder's name been brought up. Snyder was a captain for Duke, sat on K's bench, and now is probably, he's a top 5 coach in the league.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Well, and the big thing is that Duke connection. Like the Duke brotherhood, it lasts for after, coaching. Yeah. The job is big time, but when you have the connection to Duke, it's even more of a big deal. You're going to want to come back just because.
Yeah. They say the off-season pickup games at Duke are, it's NBA quality. It's just NBA guys everywhere.
How long is this farewell tour for Coach K going to last? Is it just starts immediately?
It just starts immediately, and everywhere he goes, you give him gifts. And
he gets a boot from Texas.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man. he deserves that.
Does
Really.
he want that?
Yes.
Is that why? Is that why you announced now?
No.
I think there's a part of that. I think there's a part why you announce going into the season because you want to be recognized. You don't want to just. He wouldn't want the Roy Williams way out.
Yeah, no.
Maybe a little bit more attention.
Yeah.
When you've been there for 42 years, you just can't be like, I'm done. It's usually, hey, this is my last shot. Let's start getting our eggs in the basket.
Do you think they're going to be good?
Duke?
Yeah.
They have the number 1 recruiting class in the country.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year.
That's what makes me wonder if he saw it and it's like, maybe I'm kind of out. I heard that he just wanted to beat Roy Williams in terms of coaching also, more years. And so Roy Williams just gets out.
There you go.
And then he goes, well, now I can get out with my last year also.
There you go. You win. You win, Kay.
Good for you, Kay.
Have that.
Give
Go
a
ahead.
shit.
Right.
I'm on the golf course.
So John Shire taking on Duke's basketball program's job. Shire, what a story for him, man. Been on the staff since 13, was elevated to associate head coach back in 18, coached the games that Kay could not go over the last couple of seasons. I'd imagine that they talked to candidates like Tommy Amaker, who is the Harvard head coach who played point guard for Krzyzewski. Oh, he's a great coach. He's a great coach. He's got Ivy League basketball relevant. You can't even handle scholarships.
Yeah.
It's only 33. John
Amaker?
Shire. No, John Shire is. But that's
I bet that's a piece of it too.
Yeah,
they probably want to be like
circuit, man.
Well, they probably want to be like the Pittsburgh Steelers. They want to have 3 coaches in 90 years or whatever it's been. They've only had 3 coaches in some 50 years or something. I think Duke basketball probably wants to try to keep that. You got 41 years at one. You hire a 32-year-old and see if you can't squeeze 25 years out of him. You know what I mean? Really? Where would you go if you're John Shire? You've landed at your dream job, I'd imagine.
And he's stuck around for this long as an assistant coach because he's got. There were other offers on the table.
Sure.
And he stuck around this long.
Who have we seen? We have seen in that position. Wojnarowski was in his former point guard that took the Marquette job.
Yep.
Jeff Campbell's associate head coach.
Jeff Campbell's at Pittsburgh now. That's who the LSU just beat for Efton Reed. Then he had Doug Collins' son, Chris Collins, on the bench for a long time. He went and took a job somewhere at Northwestern. In Chicago, and people thought that he would be have an opportunity to be a successor. I remember when like Brad Stevens' name was being tied to this job as potential replacements if Kay ever stepped away. I mean, it is. You can pick up the phone and call anybody.
Oh yeah.
Everybody is in play. I mean, I would have Phil Jackson tell me no.
There's only a couple teams in the league that you would take their jobs over the Duke job.
In terms of like the NBA versus
The
college.
NBA versus college, like
I agree with
maybe
that.
the Lakers, Knicks, Celtics, maybe.
I lived in LA the summer of 2004, and that was the summer that Kobe outed Shaq.
Yeah.
Shaq was out. He was traded to Miami, and it was becoming Kobe's town. And Kobe was working on Phil next. He wanted Phil out.
Yeah.
And he wanted Krzyzewski in. And
Wow.
Kay was a finalist during that job. And I'll never forget sports radio during that time period. Guys like John Ireland and them out in L.A. who were holding the afternoon drive, and them like really pushing for Krzyzewski. And Krzyzewski, if you remember this, thought about it. He had to hold a press conference to come out and say, I'm staying at Duke. Yeah, I thought about it. Yeah. Los Angeles Lakers, like Kobe, like personally recruited him to the job. And it's got to be, if the alpha of the sport is picking up the phone and saying, I want you to coach me, it's got to be tough to say, I'm staying.
This thing.
I'm staying. I'm not going to do it. But I just remember that being so, like he told the Lakers no. I mean, that's a hell of a deal to do, man. I mean, that's a hell of a phone call to make. That's a hell of a conversation to have, to tell that franchise no thank you with possibly their all-time greatest player in the history of the franchise begging you to coach there.
At his prime.
In his prime. Entering his prime.
Yeah.
I mean, like on the front end of his prime.
It's like he made a deal with the devil.
Krzyzewski?
Mm-hmm. Blue Devils.
The Blue Devil.
But obviously that 2008 Olympic team.
Unreal.
D-Wade and Kobe
Dwight
and
his
LeBron.
prime,
The
CP3,
Redeem Team.
The Redeem Team. Yep. That was, and really I'd imagine that would probably be one of his greatest accomplishments was being Team USA's coach. I mean, he's a guy who's a military guy, played for Bobby Knight at West Point. So
I mean, when I think USA basketball, I think of Coach K coaching.
yeah, me too. Who's the head coach now?
Oh, it was Boeheim.
Is it Pop? Boeheim. Boeheim's the head coach.
I think of Chuck Daly.
Chuck Daly for sure.
Oh yeah.
Put collar popped.
Chuck Daly for sure.
Have that hair.
Absolutely. Playing golf with Mike.
Yeah, we don't have practice today.
It's all good, man.
I think we're gonna win.
That tea time at 10.
Yeah, we got another one at 4.
The Monte Carlo games. That's the one you want, man.
Yes.
The pickup basket.
Oh,
the games between
The
those.
intensity.
Oh, it is Pop. It was Boeheim for 1 year.
Oh, couldn't handle it.
Pissed himself.
All right, good stuff. NBA playoffs, real quick before we get out of here. Closeout Wednesday. Wednesday was a closeout night for a couple of teams. Philadelphia closed out Washington. Atlanta and Trae Young go into Madison Square Garden.
They got themselves a new rival.
And just give it to the Knicks crowd. Trae Young is bowing for the New Yorkers on his way out of last night's closeout for the Hawks as they move past New York. Utah, Quinn Snyder and the Jazz bounce Memphis. John Morant and the Grizzlies are out. Dallas last night, Luka had 40 at 42 in a win versus the Clippers. And the Mavericks now up 3-2 in that series. I forgot that Luka and Trae Young were drafted for one another.
Yeah,
Traded for
swapped
one another
for one
on,
another.
on draft day. Who won the trade?
No real loser.
I don't know.
Huh?
That's
No real
gonna
loser,
won.
right?
They both
I mean,
won. They
everybody, the rare both side win in professional sports trade is Luka Doncic and Trae Young.
I
I
think
mean,
just-
nobody really lost that trade.
Trae made the jump. Last year, I'd say it was Luka, but Trae made the jump because he's like, I have to score 35 every single time. Now I'll score 27, but I'll dish the ball. I'll dish it to the corner.
Yeah.
They did a good job of building around
They
him.
did. That was one,
that
and they did it.
floater,
They did it
that's-
quick too.
They
Uh-huh.
did.
Just like Memphis, they got their guy, and they were like, you know
Well,
what?
I mean, has there ever been a mid-season firing coach in what Nate McMillan has done since then? If you remember when he took over for the
Right,
Hawks,
yeah.
like they were aiming towards the first pick in the draft type stuff, and then he reeled off like something like 35 of the next 48 game win. Like it was something crazy in which he went on.
Did the Cavs win the title when David Black got fired halfway through?
Yeah.
Yeah, when
that
Ty
was,
Lue
that was
came
Ty
in.
Lue
Yeah.
coming in.
They won the title when they made the move?
So Blatt was the coach.
I know he was the move.
14-15.
They're in first place too.
And then they got rid of him and brought Lue in.
And then Ty Lue never wanted to coach again, and here he is for the Clippers. He said that way I aged probably 50 years in those 3 years.
Oh, I'm sure
He's
coaching
like,
LeBron
oh
in
my-
Cleveland.
in
I
Cleveland.
mean,
And you're not
LeBron's
really even doing
LeBron's the
anything.
coach.
Yeah, and you're just
You
like,
just got to manage personalities around LeBron. It's
That's
probably
what-
you're
that's
nothing
why
but a
he was brought in.
therapist.
That's
Yeah.
why he was brought in. That's why they got rid of Blatt's a coach.
Yeah,
They got rid of Blatt because he's a
They wanted a
coach.
therapist.
yeah.
They brought
you need
Lue in.
You need a therapy.
Or-
you need a therapist for LeBron.
Are we putting all our money on the Lakers tonight?
I am not. I think the Lakers are done.
you don't think this is
Street
LeBron
clothes playing?
vintage?
I think that LeBron does go superhuman, but
It's not enough.
he doesn't have enough around him.
He
Nobody,
goes-
no,
I think-
especially if Anthony Davis street clothes can't play,
Yeah.
which I anticipate he won't
Yeah.
play.
I think tonight's up in the air. If the Lakers pull it off, they win in 7. But I think the Suns have a big shot winning tonight.
Man.
They don't want it to. Suns don't want
They
7.
don't want 7.
No,
they don't
Nobody
want
wants
7.
7
And
against
they're playing
LeBron.
at home.
I mean,
Yeah.
you give him one game scenario, he's going to beat you.
Yeah.
Every time.
And then the second round, sneaky good series is going to be Hawks Sixers.
Yes,
It's going to be a great series.
It is.
hurt.
Yeah.
It is because Philadelphia was looking at that saying we can get right for
Yeah.
Milwaukee or Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But now, if you're Philadelphia and you're Doc, you're thinking, what are we going to do with Trae Young?
Yeah.
I mean,
Brad
who is
Simmons.
going to guard Trae Young? Trae Young scores with an ease like Steph Curry.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like he doesn't even his knees don't bend when he runs. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He just got this ease to him where he just kind of
Gliding around the court.
easy. I mean, that shot he hits from the Knicks logo and bounds to the crowd last night. That was. I mean, I was like, I fucking love this guy, dude.
Yeah.
Cold-blooded.
Cold-blooded, man.
Just unnecessary. And he's like, well, shot clock's running down. I guess I'll shoot
But
it.
if you're gonna do it,
it.
do it, man. All right, great show, good stuff. I love street clothes as a nickname.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
what he
right.
is.
I love that nickname. I mean, there has and Shaq on the end who's like, you don't need to explain to us, Chuck. We know what you're talking about. That's so good.
Dude, and if you're AD and you hear that, you have to be like, damn, that one kind of hurts a little bit. He's
There's a lot
right.
of truth to it.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, a big indictment on the Pelicans because you have John Morant that made the
Yes.
playoffs. R.J. Barrett was in the playoffs. And then DeAndre Hunter was
For his-
also in the playoffs. Those are all taken after Zion.
for as interesting as Jeff Duncan was yesterday on the Arch Manning stuff, and I would encourage you if you were looking for an Arch Manning update on recruiting to go to find the interview with Jeff Duncan yesterday. It's a great in-depth piece that he has over at The Athletic, and he explained it here on the Jordy Culotta show on Wednesday. He gave us about 30 seconds on the Pelicans that were gripping.
Oh, I
mean-
when I was clipping last night, I was like, I got to put that
I'm
I gotta
glad
it
you
out
put
there.
that out there.
gotta
I was
put it
so
out there.
glad that you clipped that because, I mean, that's as poignant and as direct and as clear.
It's the truth.
It is the absolute
truth.
truth. The next 2 months for David Griffin and the Pelicans are make or break. He will either lose his job or he will stay in New Orleans based on the next 2 months because when you look around the league and you see Atlanta and you see Memphis and you see these franchises that were in very similar and comparable roles that New Orleans were in and having success,
That has less talent than the Pelicans.
very
We
much
have
so.
2 All-Stars.
Very much so. I mean, if I'm a Memphis fan, I can't wait for the future. I
Right.
mean, I cannot wait. The fact that they got bounced last night against Utah, who's the 1 seed, and you go and really put them on the ropes for a couple
Yeah.
of a couple of games.
Put up a fight.
Absolutely.
First 4 games.
I mean, you could see kind of Utah like, what? Where are we?
We got
Yeah,
punched.
I
We
mean,
got snuck a little
We
bit.
were waiting on
and-
waiting on LeBron.
Yeah.
And you took out Steph in the
Yes,
in the,
and
in the
San
play-in
Antonio.
game, and the Spurs
And they beat they were the one that ended Popovich's playoff streak.
Yeah.
And I thought Steph Curry and Golden State coming off of that Lakers game were bound to win going home. And John Morant went there and was the better player.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like he was the best player on the floor. Yes, David Griffin and the Pelicans are staring down the
He's made
scope.
one good move since he's been here, and
Drafted
it's
him.
the easiest move to
Zion?
make was drafting Zion.
Exactly.
That's his one good move. Everything after that.
Yeah, I mean, and he to me is bringing in all of this outside stuff, kind of new age
Yeah.
stuff, where he's wanting to be the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, hey, bro, just chill. Just take me back to those Cleveland days where you
Right.
were building basketball teams.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let the nutritionists worry about what they're serving for lunch.
Yeah.
Don't tell me on all that. I don't care about all that stuff. I want to know how you're going to build a team around Zion because all I remember around 2021 New Orleans Pelicans, the only thing I remember is Zion's press conference at MSG.
Yeah.
That's all I remember.
He's on the way out if we don't figure it out.
No, he told you.
He's gone.
He told you.
And he's doing what we're doing, sitting at home watching the Mecca absolutely be a thrill ride. And as R.J. Barrett's his best friend. He's like, just give me 2 years, I'll be there with you, brother. We can run this shit.
Lob in the Garden.
You replace Randall with Zion on this Knicks team. I mean, that's
dirty.
Wow.
That's Eastern Conference Finals.
If they lose Zion, they could be in Seattle.
Yeah. No, if Zion's gone, Pelicans
they're
are out
done.
of New Orleans.
They're done. They're done. All right, for the entire crew, Katie's back tomorrow. Lizzie's behind the board. Noah and Jack, we're signing off. I appreciate everybody, man. Dr. Reef today. Jimmy Burrow was fantastic. Recruiting and talking, obviously, what was going on with the LSU offensive line. Moon Ursin was a great conversation as Moon is now here with the LSU women's basketball program as she transferred in. Great stories on Kim Mulkey from Moon. And then Dr. Reef talking about the offseason that he expects. Or not the offseason that Alvin Kamara is going through and the season that he expects Kamara to have next season with no Drew Brees. Enjoy your Thursday. We're back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Remember, go Chevrolet. LaPlace for brand new cars and right here in Baton Rouge, corner of Sherwood and Sherwood in Florida for the used car lot at Go Express Auto Sales. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 7 a.m.